David Gilmour dropped a new song, which is a preview of an upcoming album that's going to be released on September 6th. The name of the new song is The Piper's Call, and it's out right now. You can see it on YouTube with an accompanying video that shows Gilmour recording. And I'm going to tell you what I think of the song and also of Gilmour's performance and also about the video itself in just a second. But before I do, I want to tell you a little bit more background on the album. It says the album will feature 8 new songs with Guy Pratt and Tom Herbert on bass, Adam Betts, Steve Gadd, and Steve DiStanisio on drums, Rob Gentry and Roger Eno on keyboards, with string and choral arrangements by Will Gardner. There's also going to be a guest appearance by Richard Wright, believe it or not, which was recorded back in 2007 at a jam at David Gilmour's house. So that's some of the background on the forthcoming album, and now I'm going to tell you about the song itself. The song features Gilmour's guitar playing quite heavily. It starts with a ukulele and ends with a solo on a Les Paul. And it's a very slow moving track and it has a very dense arrangement. And these are aspects I wanted to bring attention to. The arrangement reflects a lot of time and care, which is not often the case these days. And when I say that, I want to be careful to distinguish between arrangement and production, because there's a lot of good production going on these days in music, but there's not a lot of good traditional arrangement going on. And what I mean by that is it's one thing to cut and paste various song sections together. It's another thing to orchestrate a song according to almost like a classical motif. And this is what you get from David Gilmour in the past with his solo efforts, and that's what you've got here with this particular song, The Piper's Call. You've got a very carefully orchestrated track that covers a lot of ground and has a lot of different textures to it. So that's the first thing that I would point out. The second thing that I would point out is that if you're a David Gilmour guitar fan, you get a feast with just this single track. He's showing off a bunch of his guitar playing techniques, everything from acoustic to electric guitar soloing, and the solo at the end of the song is one of his best. And even though he's reached 80 years old or so, he's playing with fire, he's playing with imagination, and he's not retreading his old licks. If you listen to the ending solo, it's classic David Gilmour, but it doesn't actually reuse licks or motifs from previous solos. He retains his trademark style, but breaks new ground at the same time. Vocally, I think that there's not a lot to say other than the fact that it's a completely honest vocal. It doesn't seem to be digitally altered to such a great extent that it no longer reflects character. And I think that Gilmour's changing voice over the years is a statement in itself, and I'll kind of leave my reflections there for the moment. Whether or not David Gilmour ever was a great singer is a topic I might take up in a future video. Certainly now this track is much more focused on his guitar playing than on his vocals, and the song is a meditative, guitar-driven, poetic odyssey of sorts. And for this reason, you might think, well, it probably therefore sounds a lot like Pink Floyd, but it doesn't sound very much like Pink Floyd. So if you're going to look at David Gilmour's solo material hoping that it has a strong Pink Floyd flavor, you may be disappointed. Those of you who are David Gilmour fans won't be surprised, because Gilmour's previous solo albums weren't very Pink Floyd influenced, and I don't think that he has the same musical sensibilities when he's playing on his own as he has as a member of a band. And one of the differences is what I already mentioned, which is the classical approach toward arrangement. The other one is the mellowing of the material in terms of emotion. Whereas Pink Floyd's songs are driven by a lot of alienation and anger, David Gilmour's songs seem to be driven more by contemplation and balance. Now, does that make them a little bit more dull than the average Pink Floyd song? Sometimes it does, and sometimes it feels like there could be just a little bit more crunch to it, just a little bit more of an edge. But the song, this particular song, is a very strong first release from the forthcoming album, and if the rest of the album is as good as this song, then it should be incredible. Now, whether or not we can bank on it just from the release of this one song, that's a whole different story. If the whole album happens to sound like the Piper's Call, it'll get dull pretty fast. But if the ending guitar solo is a foreshadowing of some maybe more fiery and more aggressive material, and the album has a lot of different light and shade to it, then it could be quite exciting. At any rate, you can find the song quite easily here on YouTube and listen to it yourself, and then come back here and leave a comment, tell me what you think about it. I'm pretty sure that most Pink Floyd fans will like the track, and I'm pretty sure that most David Gilmour fans will like the track. I'm not sure that anyone who's not already a fan would find much of value in the track, as it doesn't have very many hooks, and it's not got like an infectious beat or any kind of memorable theme or lyric to a non-aficionado. Anyway, this is what I think, but what really matters is what you think. So if you have an idea about this or any other topic connected to classic or contemporary music, please drop it in the section below, and remember to like and subscribe. I'd also like to point out that there's a join button available now for those of you who'd like to support the site. If you choose to join, you'll get access to members-only videos, members-only polls, members-only badges, and other cool perks that you can see by clicking on the join button, which I hope you'll do. Thanks a lot.
Troops, so bitch, if you see me salute, and we 2 turn nigga